It's debatable.
After the divorce, they can't see eye to eye.
If I asked her that question, if you're a good father, would she say debatable?
She would say I'm terrible. She's been persecuting me.
Try to be nice to each other. You don't live with each other. It's easier.
But first,
I had a little Toyota.
So what you're telling me is, sir, you paid more for your car than you did for your child. 3 times as much.
Right.
Right. Absolutely right.
Parties on Maxwell versus Osment. Step forward, please.
28-year-old accountant Candy Maxwell is suing her ex-husband, satellite technician Scott Osment, for their child's medical bills. Scott says he gives half his salary and will pay no more.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 177 on the calendar in the matter of Maxwell versus Osment. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Maxwell, let me try to get the sequence of events.
Yes, ma'am.
When were you married to the defendant?
In December 21st, 1991.
And you have 1 child together?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that child born?
November 1st of 1994.
Girl.
Girl. Yes, ma'am.
And when did you separate from the defendant?
In January of 95, Your Honor.
And when were you divorced?
We were divorced August 11th, 1997.
Now, you are suing the defendant for unreimbursed medical costs that you incurred for your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
From what date to what date?
From April 14th, 1997 to present, Your Honor.
Now, your divorce decree provided for him to pay for what with regard to medical bills?
Half of everything.
Now, how much does he owe you, according to you, for the child's unreimbursed medical bills?
$1,982.05.
Can I see what you have there? Now, when did you first make a demand for that money?
I started making a demand for this money in November of 1997, Your Honor. I've made demands for it. He told me he would never pay a dime of medical costs. He told me he would never pay for anything for her at all.
True.
Why is that, sir?
For the past year, Your Honor, I've been paying over half my wages. I brought proof of that.
For what?
For child support, because they made it at $424 per month, which is over half my wages, rendering me with about $100 a week to live on. Neither one of our jobs were...
$424 per month for child support.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what the judgment of divorce provided for?
At first, yes. We went to court 1 week ago on July 1st, and they saw fit to modify the child support to $251 to a reasonable rate. I proved to the judge that I'm just not making it. I'm trying to go to college at night. At this point, I brought proof of my payroll. I don't know where I would get it at this point.
Let me see.
The net pay shows what...
No, I'll read it. I'm really good at that.
I know you are.
Your Honor, I'd like to say something, if I may. Mr. Osment has only paid $424 for the first 2 months from April to July of 1997. Then he got his child support reduced to $113 per month. And then in January, it went back up to $424, and then he just got it reduced again to $250.
Mr. Osment,
Yes, ma'am.
from January of 1995, which is when you separated from your former wife, until April of 1997, how much child support did you pay?
I gave her at least $50 to $100 a month. I didn't give her as much.
50, just a second. So between 1995 and 1997, according to you, you gave her between $50 and $75 a month. Is that right?
Can I say something?
Yes.
The reason for that, at that time, when we did separate, I was left with the apartment and everything else. Our visitation schedule set up, I would have to go down there. I lived in Palm Springs, she lived in Orange County. Drive there, get them, bring them back, because we couldn't stay there for the visitation. Go all the way back. I had to work the Saturday. That pretty much ate that money up. I had no more money left.
Well, how'd you expect your daughter to be supported?
Work as hard as I could, do the best I could.
Well, that's not doing the best you can, sir. $50 a month, assuming that you paid it, which she seems to doubt.
No, he
She
didn't.
says you didn't pay it. But assuming that you paid somewhere around $50 a month, you can't keep a cat for $50 a month.
You're right, Your Honor.
This isn't a cat, this is your child.
I've been paying, I haven't missed a payment since we've been doing this.
Mr. Osmond, what you're telling me that since you were put under a court order, you managed to pay $424 a month, and then you managed to pay $113 a month, and then you paid $250 a month. So when a court told you to pay $424 a month, you paid it. When a court told you you had to pay $113 a month, you paid it. When a court told you you had to pay $250 a month, you paid it. But when no court told you that you had to pay more, according to you, you gave her $50 a month. Is that what you're telling me? That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm telling you that due to the situation at the beginning of that, I had no more money.
So what you're telling me, sir, is that as soon as the court told you you had to pay
They garnished
$424 a month, all of a sudden, miraculously, the good fairy came and dropped enough money for you to pay $424 a month.
They took it from me. They garnished
They took it out of your salary.
Right.
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 They garnished my wages.
Absolutely right.
That's why I lost my car, my apartment, everything I had.
Oh, just a second. What kind of car did you have?
Yeah.
I had a little Toyota
Little Toyota.
that I paid $177 a month for. And
So what you're telling me is, sir, from 1995 to 1997, you paid more for your car than you did for your child. 3 times as much. 3 times as much.
That's not what I'm telling you.
Your Honor, I just, in the last court case in our last hearing, he has acquired a brand new car, and he has acquired financing for that brand new car because it was on his last income and expense declaration for the new court case that he has a brand new car that he pays $334 a month for.
Pay $334 a month for a car, sir?
My mother helps me with that.
Oh.
So that I can get around it.
Just a second. Is your mother a good grandmother?
They won't allow her to see her.
Just a second. Is your mother a good grandmother?
She is. They won't allow her to see her.
You mean there's a restraining order that prevents your mother from seeing the child?
I've never done
Jump!
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Is there a restraining order that prevents your mother from seeing the child?
No, Your Honor, there is not.
So that when you have your daughter for visitation, you want her to see your mother, you go over and you take her to visit your mother. What do you mean they prevent you? That's what you do. So your mother, if she's a good grandmother, she doesn't give you $350 a month to pay for a car. So what you're telling me now is you still pay more for your car than you pay for your daughter. And there was a time when you got along with an old Toyota for $177 a month, but now you need a $350 a month car when you've asked to have your child support reduced to half. You sound like you have your priorities all screwed up, Mr. Osmond.
Candy Maxwell is suing her ex-husband, Scott Osmond, for their child's medical bills. Scott says he gives half his salary and will pay no more.
Judgment in this case is very easy. The Supreme Court of this state has directed that, sir, that you pay for 1/2 of all unreimbursed medical bills. That you will do. That one child is your priority, not your car, not your mother, not your fiancé, not anything else. Aside from bare sustenance to keep you alive, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take care of the children that you make. In this case, you really haven't done that, sir, unless you've been under the gun of a court order. The total bills here, which have been added up, clearly indicate that you owe her 1/2 of those bills, which are $1,982.05, Mr. Osmond. Pay it! That's all.
Thank you,
Parties
Your
are
Honor.
excused. You may
Thank
step out.
I think Judge Judy did exactly what I hoped she had done, give me back the justice that is deserved for my daughter. He doesn't even know what the mean father is.
I'm just happy she's going on with her life. That's what I need for her to do. She's a good mother for my child, but she needs to go on with her life emotionally. I have.
And now the next case.
Parties on Ballou versus Ballou. Step forward, please.
39-year-old independent contractor Cynthia Ballou is suing her ex-husband, 43-year-old salesman Joseph Ballou, for not paying his share of their children's medical and dental bills. Joseph says he was never consulted.
You folks were once married and now divorced. You have
Yes.
2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
This case is about some unreimbursed medical and dental bills for the 2 children. How old are your children, sir?
Almost 16 and 14.
And how long have you been divorced?
Since 1995.
What are these medical and dental bills for?
For dental treatment for Tracy for a gum condition which caused her teeth to become loose and
So
swelling.
mostly dental bills?
Yes.
And how much were the dental bills?
The total dental bills was $781.
Okay. And that was for mostly routine care, not orthodontic work or anything else?
It's not for braces, no. Her teeth are porous and her gums are in poor condition.
Okay. Mr. Ballou, Does your divorce decree provide that you're supposed to pay for half of the unreimbursed dental and medical bills?
Providing that she discusses the matter with me, yes, beforehand.
So you're supposed to be consulted.
Exactly.
And that's really your defense.
That
You
is-
have two defenses. One, that you weren't consulted, and the second one is that your fiancé, is that your fiancé, has a brother who's a dentist, and you would have taken your children to her brother.
That would have been my suggestion, yes, rather than send her to Oceanside, 100 miles away.
Was that the dentist that the children always used?
Not to my knowledge. We did have a dentist in Woodland Hills.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Ballou. You made these two children with your former wife. She a good mother?
It's debatable.
If I asked her that question, if you're a good father, would she say debatable?
She would say I'm terrible. She's been persecuting me.
All right. This lady doesn't look like the kind of lady that would allow anybody to invasively cut into one of the children if it wasn't necessary. This isn't a big bill, Mr. Ballou.
No, it's not. The whole problem here is that she is doing something that she's not allowed to do. The court has ordered her to discuss the matter with me. If she chooses to do it on her own, then she should take responsibility on her own.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that if a judgment of divorce provides that there's supposed to be consultation, which I'm sure yours does, is that right?
But he knew.
That's not, knowing is not consulting, Mrs. Ballou. That's what his complaint is. You know, all too often when parties get divorced and they put that little phrase in the divorce decree, which is, you know, the non-custodial parent is to be consulted with regard to any non-emergency medical or dental treatment. People think that that's sort of a, you know, stock thing you don't have to pay much attention to. And Mrs. Ballou, the truth of the matter is that sometimes it's a very troublesome little clause, because if the non-custodial parent feels like your husband former husband feels, that, well, I'm the father and I should really be consulted, because that's what it says there. I'm not just somebody who's supposed to write out a check.
Right.
I'm supposed to be a parent, and if we were together, the two of you would sit down over the kitchen table and say, this is a good dentist, and he would talk to you about it, and you would talk to him about it, and he would say, well, I guess we'll have to go and take care of it.
Can I expound on it a little bit?
Sure.
During the time of her visits, Mr. Ballou quit his employment, and I was facing relocation in August 1st. That's why we went to Oceanside, because I had inspected units to relocate and filed for a transfer to move down there because of...
Mr. Ballou, stop shuffling around with the papers. Listen to your former wife. Maybe you'll get something from it.
I was in the process of relocating because I ran out of money and he wasn't paying. That's why we went to Oceanside, because my mom was down there and she was going to help us out. Tracy's treatment wasn't one time. She went 5 different times because they had to break it apart. And he knew what she was going for, and he supported the action then.
How do you know he supported the action then?
Because he would say, that's good, that's fine, go down there and take care of it.
To whom did I... Sorry.
The weekend and the trips down there were arranged around his visitation, so it wouldn't interrupt the opportunity for him to see.
Okay.
I mean...
I'm not doubting, and he wouldn't tell me, if he was being honest, that he didn't know she was undergoing these treatments. You knew she was undergoing the treatments.
I knew she was going down there. I found out from my daughter.
You're the fiancé?
Yeah,
I would suggest, if you want to be a good fiancé and be on reasonable terms with her, you not say anything.
But
Long term, not just for a court date.
Cynthia Ballou wants her ex-husband, Joseph Ballou, to pay his share of their kids' medical and dental bills.
3 of you, I assume, are going to have to get along for a while. So they have a history together. You don't have a history. So
But I know what's going on in the background that's not true.
I'm not interested in the background, madam. I'm interested in what I see. What I see is a dental bill for $781. She wants half. His defense is that this procedure was taken and done on one of his children without his being consulted first. That's his complaint. And that is against what the judgment of divorce provided for. Plaintiff says, if I'm gathering this correctly, that while he may not have been consulted, he certainly knew about the procedure, and you agree that you knew about the procedure because you were visiting with the children.
I knew that she was having work done.
Okay. So it's a rather novel issue. and something that you really have to work out long term because the kids have still a long way to go before they reach their majority. You have to consult him. Not just do it and tell him, because that's what the judgment of divorce provides for. And even if it didn't, it would be the right thing to do, to consult him. On the other hand, Mr. Ballou, she didn't do it this time. I'm directing her that she, in the future, whenever the children need non-emergency care, and I assume you're not talking about if the kids get a sore throat or get a strep or something and she has to take the kids for a relatively routine procedure that she has to call and consult with you first. You wouldn't expect her to do that, would you?
Well, she has union benefits that cover this. No, I would
Even
not
if she
expect
didn't,
it.
right? Because that's sort of silly. But this was an ongoing procedure that, you know, was costly. You wouldn't want your child to go without a procedure that was necessary. So in the future, Mrs. Ballou, in the future, you have to consult him.
Okay.
Because he is their father. You visit with the children
Yes, I do.
regularly?
Every other weekend I have them.
Great. When do you pick them up?
Usually, depending on whether or not I work on Saturday, either pick them up after work Friday or after work Saturday.
And you have a nice relationship with them?
Yes, I do.
That's good. You want to say anything else to me?
Well, I don't believe that she should be reimbursed this amount of money. Her reasons for her idea of discussing this is, be advised, Tracy has a dentist appointment on June 28th or June 29th. She sued me for costing me $8,000 last year, suing me for $1 million, which that money could have gone towards my kids rather than me have to sell my truck to pay for an attorney.
Is that an old lawsuit that's over?
This is, yeah, she dropped it right before she filed this
What
lawsuit.
kind of $1 million lawsuit? I'm just curious.
He went to my bank in December and obtained my bank records without a subpoena or consent. Then filed for a modification of child support, stating he didn't have enough money to pay child support, and quit his job shortly thereafter.
Okay, so what you were being sued for was getting her bank records without her consent. Is that what you were suing him for, but then you
Yes.
dropped that lawsuit?
Yes, we narrowed down the responsible parties.
Whatever. Mr. Ballou, listen to me. You have 2 kids. You are always going to have these 2 children as your responsibility. Trust me, even when they're past 18 or 21 years old, they're still going to be expensive. Right now, your bill for this, Mr. Ballou, your half is $390. Not such a big deal. I am, however, advising you, Mrs. Ballou, that writing him a note saying to him, you are advised that Tracy is going for this treatment, is not the same as consultation. Consultation is talking to him before the fact. It's an emotional thing, right?
Yes.
You should not unreasonably withhold your consent, because you have to think about what's in the best interest of the children, not that you want to stick it to her. And you shouldn't feel as if you want to stick it to him for any reason either by giving him one of these, I'm advising you that. It's just not the right thing to do. Try to be nice to each other. You don't live with each other. It's easier. So I'm awarding you your $390, but with this proviso, madam. In the future, consult means consult, not dictate. You got it?
Okay.
Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's cheating behind my back.
With her not being in the house for months at a time, I went out and strayed.
He says they were legally separated. She says she was just away at school.
With my husband, I don't know anything about he cheating me.
She takes and takes and takes and runs me into the ground.
Oh, sounds like a sordid mess to me.
Yes, ma'am, it sure is.
Parties on Pennington versus Sharp. Step forward, please.
19-year-old model Martha Pennington is suing her boyfriend's estranged wife, 37-year-old cosmetologist Betty Sharp, for a Sony PlayStation.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Judge, it's number 242 on the calendar in the matter of Pennington versus Sharp. All parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, ma'am, have a seat, please.
This is some interesting case. Miss Pennington, the defendant is your boyfriend's wife.
Uh-huh.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is this the boyfriend?
Uh-huh.
According to you, you met him, he told you he was separated from his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly thereafter, you moved in to his home.
Uh-huh.
How long did you know him before you moved in?
Probably about a year.
And you say that you knew his wife and child lived somewhere out of town.
Yeah, in Northern California. I didn't know her personally, but I know of her.
And according to you, there were times that she would come down to visit or to bring the child down to see the father. Is that what he told
they were still
you?
married. They had medical benefits, and she would come down and see the doctor and so forth.
That's what he told you?
Yes.
And at the times that she would come down, you would leave the house?
Yes.
So you really never met her?
No.
How often did this happen that she came down?
She probably came down maybe 4 times a year.
Okay. And were there any weekends when he left the house? Any times that he left the house for a couple of days at a time?
Yes, some holidays.
Hmm?
A couple of holidays.
Where did he go?
Up to Northern California to visit his little boy.
Okay. And according to your complaint, while you were there, you purchased a PlayStation.
Uh-huh.
I sort of know what that is from my grandchildren.
Yeah.
That goes into a computer, you play games on it?
Yes, video game.
Video games. And you purchased that for what? For you to play with?
Yeah, for both of us, and for whenever his little boy comes down, for he could have something, entertainment for him.
Who bought it?
I did.
And you have proof that you bought it?
She was smart enough to take the receipts when she took the game with her, but I was able to retrieve some from the store that I bought.
Let me see.
That's good. And some of the video games I was not able to get the receipts.
But the PlayStation you got a receipt for and everything else? All right, let me see. Well, this all says that it was sold to William Sharp.
Well, when I moved in with them, I never shopped at the Good Guys before. So they put everything in a computer, so we just put it under his name.
But it said it was sold to him.
No.
That's what these receipts say, that it was sold to him.
Okay, but I paid for it with my money. I had it put in the computer under his name.
Show me that you paid for it.
She took the receipts with her.
Not the receipts. Show me your checks.
Oh, I paid for it with cash. I paid all my items with cash.
All right. In any event, they came down one day and she took the PlayStation. So that's what you're suing for.
Yeah.
Is that right? Now, Mrs. Sharp.
Yes.
According to you, you and your husband were very much together, and you were attending school in Northern California.
Right.
What kind of school were you attending?
The cosmetology.
And you have family that lives in Northern California. And you had an arrangement with your husband so that you could attend school in Northern California.
Right.
You'd have family to watch your son while you attended school.
Right.
And then you would come down.
Every 2 or 3 weeks, I come down to visit my husband, and this girl wasn't there. And then every holiday, my husband come up to see me and my son. He never mentioned he cheating behind my back.
Tell me how you decided to go up to Northern California.
That's my handsome husband idea right there. Cheating on me and
what
tell
did he say?
everybody.
No, Mr. Sharp, what did he say to you?
He said to me, honey, we cannot live in one income, and we cannot buy the house and second car for you, go to work and take Michael, our son, to school. That's what he planned. He planned the whole thing.
Just a second. So he said to you, go to where your parents are.
Right. He told me go up there because the school just about 8 months. And then we can have the better life. And when I come back, he will buy me the car, and we move into bedroom and big house, better for, our family.
So you did come down one day and you saw this PlayStation in the house.
No. When I up there with my mom, one night, my husband called me, say, honey, I bought, the video game for our son when he come back next week, and he will so, exciting to see it. But don't let him know about that.
Don't let him know about it?
Yes. And then we came back, and and he saw us, that the video game there for Michael to play, and he purchased this video game for my son.
Then you found out that this lady was living there.
No.
Well, tell me how you found out about her.
When I graduated from my school.
You graduated?
March, yes, I graduated. I finished school after 8 months. I came back the house. My stuff still over there. Everything still belonged to me over there. Still in the house right now.
Your stuff was all there?
Yes, still right there. I came back, and with my husband, I don't know anything about he cheating me behind my back. And I have some phone call all the time to my house and then hang up. I still, thinking my husband cheating me, but I try, don't want to believe it. And I still asking him, did you cheating behind my back when I wasn't home? And he said no.
Martha Pennington wants her boyfriend, Skip Sharp's estranged wife, Betty Sharp, to return a video game. Betty says the PlayStation belongs to her son, and she wants it back since Martha got her husband.
So you left and you took the PlayStation with you, eventually?
I left on the October 1st. And before I doing that, because my husband beating me up and choking me, and the police come over. And then I decide to leave the house. Finally, I decide, no more to, let him abuse me. And I asked him, okay, can I take the, the video game from my son? And Michael asked his father, and his father said, oh, yes, baby, you can have the video game. He never mentioned to me, and this girl, purchased for Michael.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me the arrangement that you had with your wife when she moved up north.
We separated back in 1994. She got moved out of the house, took her stuff in a U-Haul up to her parents' house.
In 1994?
That's when the first filing for separation was.
Just a second. But then you got back together again.
No. Because we didn't finish the divorce proceedings, I extended medical benefits to her and my son.
How old is your son?
He's 5.
Did your son play with the PlayStation?
While he was down and she was taking care of her teeth, her orthodontist and dentist, and then she was going to go back up. Go back to her mom. I moved her a bed, her clothes, her dishes, toys for the son, everything that she had. The only thing that she came back for was to purge my records of any trail of her running my charge cards up and any kind of information that public debt or that we had, communal debt is what it's called.
All right. Then, do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a computer technician.
So you make a reasonable living?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you think it would be smarter of you, Mr. Sharp, to say, forget about it. I don't want to get involved with this. Let my son keep the PlayStation. We'll get another one. Mr. Sharp,
Your
does
Honor.
that sound reasonable to you?
Your Honor?
Yeah.
We're talking principle here.
No, I'm talking about father here. You're talking about principle, I'm talking about father.
Okay, I agree with what you say.
Okay.
Fundamentally, but I am being bowled over by Mrs. Sharp. She takes and takes and takes and runs me into the ground. Mrs. Pennington, if this was a car and...
We're not talking about a car.
Okay,
Your 5-year-old doesn't drive a car. 5-year-olds, however, do play with PlayStations. He took it. She left, and she took the PlayStation. She had never met your girlfriend, so she didn't know of her existence. And she came, and she got ticked off because she found that after 5 years, you now had a girlfriend living with you. She said, I'm leaving, I'm going back to my mother. And she took the PlayStation with her for your son. It's not a car. It's a toy for the child. It's a toy. It's an expensive toy.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
I am already being held accountable for over $1,000 a month for support, spousal. I cannot come up with...
Just a second. Up, put your hand down. Mr. Sharp.
Your Honor, he's supposed to pay me $1,300 a month.
How long has he been under court order to pay you $1,300 a month?
I just filed a divorce November, and the court ordered him to pay me in 2 years for $1,300 a month. And he told me...
Just a second. Are you saying in November of 1997?
Yes.
The court ordered him
Yes.
to pay you $1,300 a month?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you take the PlayStation? What
On
month?
October 1st, 1997.
You have proof for me, sir, that your divorce action was pending in 1994?
I do not.
Let me see what you
I have the divorce file.
Let me
on-
see. Come.
I filed on October 15, 1997. We never been separated before either. He lied.
Shh.
Judge,
Yes.
this is the second time that she filed for this. We had been separated since the first time.
Were you convicted of domestic violence, sir, in 1994?
Your Honor, there was no...
Yes.
Were you convicted of domestic violence in
No.
1994?
No,
Sure
Your
you
Honor.
were.
Please come over.
Shut up. You're William Oscar Sharp, aren't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
The date of the violation was 9/5/94.
And that's when she moved up to Northern California and...
Mr. Sharp, I didn't ask you whether you moved. I said,
Okay.
were you ever convicted of domestic violence?
Not to my knowledge. I never appeared in front of anybody. I never was in court. I was never served papers. I don't know what that is about, Your Honor.
You don't?
Is this her statement?
No, sir. These are court papers, including directions for you to take certain medical testing. You don't know anything about that?
No. Domestic violence, no. Solicitation. I got arrested for solicitation and had to get a test for HIV at that point in time. But there's no battery or domestic violence.
Oh, well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's for something else that you were placed on probation for 3 years.
That is for solicitation. With her not being in the house for months at a time, I'm sorry. I went out and strayed. And that's what that's for.
Yeah.
And that's what that's for.
Martha Pennington is suing for the return of a video game from her boyfriend's estranged wife, Betty Sharp. Betty says her husband, Skip Sharp, bought it for their son.
Oh, sounds like a sordid mess to me.
Yes, ma'am, it sure is.
Sure is.
I have had to dodge cell phones, handheld remotes for TV, various other things flying from her, kicking. This woman would go in the bedroom, hit her head on the wall, pound on door jambs, and make it look like I was domestically abusing her. And none of it is the truth.
Shh. Hey.
May I ask the defendant how many times she hit her head on the wall in the bedroom of our residence?
What do you think? She's going to give you an answer you want to hear, Mr.
We're
Sharp?
under oath.
Just a second, Mr. Sharp. You think that this lady, if she lied to me, according to you, about everything else,
You're
you think
right.
she's going to answer
You're right.
honestly about how many times she hit her old head against the wall?
Point well made.
Right. Shh. Mr. Sharp, let me ask you this question, sir. Are you prepared to say to your son, what's your son's name?
Michael.
Michael, you have to give me back the PlayStation that's at your house.
Yes.
You're prepared to say that to him?
I am prepared to look him in the eye and let him know that it's for him to play with when he's down here. It was taken. He knows.
Mr. Sharp.
Yes, ma'am.
Just answer my question,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
I'm just trying to figure out what kind of person you are. Are you prepared to say to your son, Mommy is going to pack up the PlayStation and it's going to be returned to my house because it belongs to me and I will keep it in my house and let you play with it when you come to my house? Are you prepared to say that to your son?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Oh, Mr. Sharp.
This person has used this.
I'm not talking about her. She may be the most vile person in the world. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Sharp, quite frankly, I have a tendency to believe most of your story because I think she's a little full of baloney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe that she didn't live there, that she came back to visit, to take these medical treatments that she came back for because she had your insurance. I see from her own sworn papers that according to her, was domestic violence in 1994 and 1995, which seems to suggest that at that time she left. Seems to suggest that in the papers, and that there was only another incident recently in 1997, after which she filed this, according to you, second proceeding for divorce. So there are things in those papers that I saw, Mr. Sharp, that suggest to me that she's full of baloney. That's not my issue. You see, Michael is the innocent.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's the innocent. And if he's got, according to you, a miserable, conniving mother, if somebody's going to set an example for him, it's going to have to be his father. Right?
Your Honor, may I address the court?
Now, why don't you just listen?
Okay.
He's not going to understand that your girlfriend bought the PlayStation and now you want it back. 5-year-olds don't understand that, Mr. Sharp. And that's the bottom line, that he will know that his toy was taken away because his daddy wanted to give it to his girlfriend. Because that's what she's going to tell him. And I can't prevent that. Is that what you want? I don't believe her. I don't believe her.
Your Honor, I don't sue anybody video game. And
That's a lie.
I'm not going to give it back.
You
Because I
didn't
don't
pay
steal
for
it.
it.
You
You
keep
can
it.
ask my son.
You keep it.
But you can ask my son. This video game belongs to my son, and if he wants to give back, up to him. I don't mind.
Mr. Sharp.
This game belongs to my son, and you can talk to him if you want.
I'm not going to talk to him. I think that you two people have already done enough damage, and I don't think that either one of you are operating in your son's best interest, quite
You're
frankly.
not.
I really don't. I do believe that the video game was purchased to keep in his house while the child was there visiting with him, because that's what fathers do. That's what non-custodial fathers do. They buy these lovely games for the kids so that the kids have a good time when they come to their house, okay? Not buy it and give it to you to take to your house so he has a good time in your house. That's just not the way things work, common sense. I'm awarding you $250. Consider yourselves lucky. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Here you are.
Thank you.
I was dancing. I wasn't stripping.
Okay, but you were a dancer at the party.
Dancing.
No, stripper. That's what
See?
I mean by dancer.
With somebody else?
Yes, ma'am.
With another woman?
Yes.
She danced at his farewell, but didn't tell her parents.
And they were hugged up or whatever.
She may be able to stand there and bald-faced lie to you, but you can't bald-faced lie to me.
Parties on Jones versus Sains. Step forward, please.
Peggy and Arthur Jones say their daughter, Carmen's former boyfriend, 19-year-old Danny Sains, borrowed a gold chain from her and won't give it back. Danny says it was a gift from their daughter.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Sains. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, this is your daughter.
Yes.
Yes. And this used to be her boyfriend.
Yes.
Your complaint says that your daughter was wearing a necklace
That's correct.
that really belonged to you,
That's correct.
that he borrowed, never returned it, and when you asked him about it, he said he sold it. Mr. Sains,
Yes, ma'am.
you say that those items were gifts to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Gifts to you from this young lady right here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you weren't there when the exchange of the necklace took place, were you?
No. No, I wasn't.
But she was. So why don't you have a seat? You step up here. Miss Jones, you were dating this young man?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
Approximately about 2 months.
And there came a time, Miss Jones, when he came into possession of a necklace that you were wearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Whose necklace was it?
My father's.
And how long had you been wearing it?
About 1 week.
So you tell me in your own words how it came about that he was wearing the chain?
We were at...
No, look over here.
Oh, okay. We were at his friend's house, and...
Over here.
He wanted to see the chain, and he took it from around my neck, and he left and went somewhere. He also took $20 from my purse and told me he was going to come right back, and he never came back until the next day. And when he came back, he told me the chain was over his friend at his house, and a friend was going to give it back to me.
Can I talk now?
Right.
First of all, Your Honor, she's lying.
Over here. Don't tell me she's lying. You tell me your version of how you got
my
possession.
Start.
Don't try to talk over me. I'm not finished.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You have to wait until I take a breath. First of all, how old are you, sir?
I'm 19.
And how old are you?
I'm 16.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I had a party, a going-away party and a birthday party. I was leaving to go to Texas on the 24th of May. My birthday was
Where do you
June
live?
12th. St. Louis, Missouri.
Is that where you're from, too?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I had the party the week before I left because I didn't plan on being back by the time my birthday got there. So we had the birthday party. Her and her cousin danced at the party. At the end of the party, everybody was gone except for me, my witness, and 3 other guys. She gave me the chain, told me happy birthday.
He's lying. He saw the chain when I first put it on the same week. The day that he's referring to is not even the same day. He took the chain and left off somewhere. It was on a totally different day. This is way before this because...
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is what you're telling me that he took the chain off your neck well before the birthday party?
Yes, ma'am.
How much before?
About 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
2 to 3, that's a long time.
Yes.
And this was an expensive chain.
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume since it was an expensive chain, your father or your mother said to you, where is the chain that you were wearing around your neck? I assume that they said that to you for this 2 or 3 weeks before the birthday party. You did go to the birthday party. Were you a dancer at the birthday party?
Not really, Your Honor.
What do you mean, not really? What does that mean?
It means no.
I don't believe that.
I mean, the way he's referring it is that I was a stripper or something.
No, dancer.
No, stripper. That's what
See?
I mean by dancer.
Well, I didn't.
No, that's...
Very ungallant of you, sir. Were you dancing at the party?
I was dancing. I wasn't stripping.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. You haven't had the chain on for 3 weeks before this party, according to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't you ask her where the chain was?
Yes, I did.
During that 3-week period?
I asked her where the chain was, and she said that he had the chain around his neck.
This was before the birthday party?
This is before.
So did you contact him then?
I had been trying to contact...
No.
Oh.
Stand up here.
I
No, this is... Just listen very carefully to the chronology.
Okay.
3 weeks before he was leaving,
Mm-hmm.
she says he took the chain off her neck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when for the first time did you call him and say, that's my husband's chain, we want it back?
I had no contact with him until he called me, called her.
You mean?
He called and I asked to speak to him.
Miss Jones, listen to me carefully,
Yes.
madam. You say this chain is worth over $1,000.
Yes.
Your daughter has borrowed the chain from your husband.
Yes.
You see her come home and she's not wearing the chain.
Yes.
She says to you,
Mm-hmm.
my boyfriend
Yes.
took the chain off my neck,
Mm-hmm.
disappeared for a day, and didn't come back till the next day,
Mm-hmm.
leaving me without the chain.
Correct.
And you didn't say to her, get me his phone number right away, I want to call him?
Yes, I did.
So?
Yes.
Then you had 3 weeks to call him.
He was never at home, Your Honor, or never available.
Did you know your daughter was going to be at his going-away party?
No, I didn't. I had no knowledge of that.
Miss Jones, I have a sense that there is a lot that you don't know about, because if I'm to believe this side of the table, I have to believe that your daughter kept things from you because you must have told her, I'm trying to reach him to get the chain back.
Yes.
She must have been in touch with him frequently over that 3-week period that she didn't have the chain, because arrangements were made for her. Put your hand down. Arrangements were made for her to dance and to be a guest at his party.
that she didn't tell me.
Of
She didn't
course.
tell me about the party.
So if I were
she
to
probably
believe,
didn't want me to know about the dancing either.
if I were to believe this young lady, then she was telling the truth to you and not telling the truth to me about this business. I have a problem with that. Don't you have a problem with that, Miss Jones?
I have a very serious problem with that.
Right.
Peggy and Arthur Jones are suing their daughter's former boyfriend, Danny Sains, for the return of an expensive gold chain belonging to Mr. Jones. Danny says their daughter, Carmen, gave it to him, and he sold it.
Okay.
Your Honor, I talked to Danny Sains on the phone.
After he left or before?
While he was out in Texas.
I'm not talking about while he was out in Texas, madam. I'm talking about in the 3 weeks between the time your daughter says that he took the chain off her neck and the time she was dancing at his birthday party. And you're telling me that you tried to reach him during that 3-week period.
He was never at home. Never. I called, he never was at home.
And I assume you were discussing that with your daughter. Is that right, Miss Jones? You were discussing the fact that you kept trying to reach Mr. Sains and you couldn't reach him to get the chain back.
And then she called him. And when he called her from Texas.
Forget Texas. I don't want to hear anything more about Texas.
All right.
That's not the issue in this case, Miss Jones.
Yes.
The issue is whether your daughter told you the truth. Because if she didn't tell you the truth about how it came about that she took off this chain and gave it to Loverboy over here, right? Then it's very possible that she made him a gift.
No, she would never give up that chain. Her father would kill her.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yes, he would.
Her father clearly would kill her if she told a lie about giving up the chain. Yeah, what do you want to tell me?
Okay. The thing about the chain, we had tried to contact him. He would never return my pages.
So why did you go to dance at his party? If you were so angry with him for taking the chain, not returning it, your parents were aggravated. They were angry with you, they were angry with him. If I were to believe that, why did you go to say goodbye to him and dance at his party?
That was stupid. I shouldn't have done it.
And you didn't tell your mother that you were going. You didn't tell your father you were going.
No, I didn't.
Because if I were to believe this story about just taking it off and borrowing it, then it would seem to me that was the perfect time to get it back. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Now, you were present at the party?
Yes.
Tell me your name, sir.
Nicholas Dilworth.
Yes, Mr. Dilworth. So tell me what you saw at this party, this going-away party.
At the party, everything was all right. They were getting along and everything. She was dancing, the party was going on. But after the party, we were all in my backyard. And, you know, they were hugged up or whatever. And, you know, I seen the chain get taken off, put around his neck. I don't know what else happened, but I seen the chain get taken off, put around his neck.
Yes.
He was lying because this was on a totally different day that they are talking about. As far as him seeing the chain or whatever gets put around his neck, how could he have seen it if he was inside?
Were you watching him?
Yes, I was. I was
you
watching
actually
everyone.
remember that as you standing
I
there?
actually remember that.
You were snuggling with him in the driveway, but watching him?
I wasn't snuggling with him in the driveway.
Why? What were you doing?
We were all standing outside, and people were coming outside. He couldn't have been outside then because he was inside with my cousin.
You know, she tells a good story.
I know this young man lies because he told me when he came into my home, I asked him, did he know how old my daughter was? He said, yes, he's 16. I said, well, how old are you? He said 17. So he lied about his age.
Ms. Jones, what does this have to do with it? Don't you realize that your daughter told you a lie? That she concealed things from you? Don't you
I know
accept
that, Your Honor. I said she wasn't perfect.
Well, she
and
did.
She's naive and young.
Doesn't look so naive to me.
She's naive and
immature,
young.
maybe.
Stupid and young.
Well, sort of goes together, doesn't it?
Yes,
Those
it
two
does.
words, yeah.
Most
All
young
right,
people
now,
are.
so once I'm comfortable in my mind that I don't have the full story from you about how he got the chain, and it was probably a very good way for you to get out of the wrath of your father for giving away his chain. She's 16 years old. So she can't make a gift of property to you that sticks unless you have actually done something with it to your detriment. Don't try to talk to me yet.
All right.
Now, you have this chain and you're in Texas. And by the time you're in Texas, I do believe that Miss Jones over here did contact you about the chain.
That was after I returned from Texas, Your Honor.
Fine, you returned from Texas. Let's
Yes,
talk about
ma'am.
your
When
return
I
from
first
Texas.
returned from Texas,
Look at me.
I had talked to her on the phone. She started giving me this story about she was pregnant and all this and that. This was the second time I heard this. And she was telling this other guy the same story, but she was telling me both our babies. That's the reason we broke up.
Chain! Did I ask you a thing about why you broke up?
No, ma'am, but that's
I'm not interested why you broke up. I want to know about the chain.
Peggy and Arthur Jones say their daughter, Carmen, was duped by her former boyfriend, Danny Sains, by not returning an expensive gold chain.
What'd you do with the chain?
The chain was sold to a friend of my cousin's.
Why did you sell it?
I didn't have any funds in Texas.
How much did you sell it for?
$100. I mean, he had the money, so I sold it to him.
Well,
But I mean, she already,
just a second.
she
Where's
already
your
knew I
cousin?
was going to sell
Just a second. She already knew you were going to sell
Yeah,
it?
because she gave it to me as a birthday present. I wanted to call her and make
Now,
sure
where would
it was
a 16-year-old
okay.
girl get a $1,300
Why
chain?
would
Jones,
you let a
Mr.
16-year-old
Jones,
girl wear a
Mr.
$1,300
Jones.
chain?
I want you to be quiet.
Questioning
Don't
me?
talk
Sorry,
to
Your
him.
Honor.
Don't talk to him. Your daughter didn't tell you the truth about this whole thing. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
She didn't. That's right. I know she didn't. She knows she didn't. She may be able to stand there and bald-faced lie to you, but you can't bald-faced lie to me. I was the mother of 5 teenage children, so I know what makes sense and what doesn't. And at the time she was doing her dance at his birthday party and he was leaving, she wanted to give him a little memento to remember her by when he went to Texas. Put your hands down. However, she's only 16. So you called her. Now let me hear about this conversation you allegedly had when you called her and said you wanted to sell the chain. How long were you there? For about a week?
Right. I had been in Texas for probably about 11 days. Because I was supposed to move down there for
Don't give me a whole sob story. You were in
Well,
Texas for 11 days and you needed money.
Right. Anyway, she said it was all right. Don't worry about it. I mean, if I need the money, go ahead and do it. Because if she needed money, I gave it to her. So she was like, that's fine. So I went ahead and sold it. And she knew I was going to sell it because I called her before I even done it.
Excuse me. Can I say something?
Well, Mrs. Sains.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I never gave him the chain. I know that he knows this, and I know that he knows that I never
Let me
gave
ask you a
him
question.
that
What would your father say to you if you came home and said to him, I'm sorry, Daddy, you know the chain you let me borrow? I gave it to Romeo over here. What do you think he'd do to you? Kill you, right?
Well,
right? Ooh, big time. Do you remember letting your daughter wear it?
Yes.
Okay. You have a bill, receipt for it?
We had a few canceled checks where we paid the store that I bought it from.
Let me take a
And on
look.
one of the checks, it has.
Let me take a look.
It makes reference to the chain and watch I had purchased
Okay.
also.
What does this chain look like?
It was about approximately 25 inches, and it was a herringbone type.
What are you doing now, Mr. Sains?
Trying to get a contract, rapping.
A what?
Rap contract.
Well, while you're waiting to be discovered, what are you doing to eat?
Well, I mean, I still stay at home with my parents. I mean, I'm taken care of.
I really don't want to offend you. Work.
No, I don't work.
W-O-R-K, job.
I don't work.
J-O-B. No.
No, ma'am.
Well, get one. Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Miss Jones, listen to me. You can't fool me, madam. I know what happened with this chain. I really don't believe you about how it all came about. I also believe that the chain wasn't yours to give away, that it belonged to your father. That I do believe. And I do believe that because he wouldn't wear any girly chain. He'd only wear a masculine-looking chain because he wants to be a rock star, a rap star. So he wouldn't wear any silly-looking chain. Now, other than doing whatever you do you have a job after school? What kind of job?
I work as a cashier at Old Country Buffet.
Okay. So I think that both of you were responsible for this. You're responsible, and she's responsible. So you are each responsible to make sure that your father and her father are whole. Do you understand? So you better take a lot of the money that you make, because I'm attributing $650 to you and $650 to you. Now, yours is really $750, because if I believe you, you sold the chain for $100, which means you got an extra $100. So that reduces your debt to $550, and yours $750. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $750. The rest you get from her. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I was getting chased by somebody scary.
I just came up upon her quick and flashed my lights.
She panicked and crashed while caught in the headlights of a nosy neighbor.
She was dropping some guy off at the supermarket, and she was married.
What business of yours if she were dropping off half a dozen sailors at the supermarket?
None of my business.
Right, so you acted like a fool.
Parties on Saunders versus Schmidt. Step forward, please.
37-year-old model Sally Saunders claims her neighbor, 34-year-old hospital worker Kevin Schmidt, caused her to crash her car into a wall. Kevin says his car never touched hers.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 250 on the calendar in the matter of Saunders versus Schmidt. Thank you. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Saunders, do you live in the same housing complex as the defendant?
We own in the same place, but I don't believe he lives there.
But you own apartments in the same complex? Yes. According to your complaint, the defendant was driving in an erratic sort of manner one evening, and while his car never touched yours, he caused you to have an accident, correct?
I believe that, yes.
That caused you to not only damage your car, but a wall of the condo, right?
Yes.
So why don't you tell me how this happened? Because he seems to acknowledge certain things about his driving that evening, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's a crazy story, first of all.
Not so crazy.
It goes on and on. Okay,
no.
I was dropping off.
No. Doesn't go on and on. You're driving home that night. You pull into your condo complex, right?
Yes.
And it's dark.
Yes.
Late at night. What time?
2:15.
In the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Were you alone in the car or with anyone else?
I had just dropped off my friend,
no,
Adam.
Miss Saunders, look at me.
Okay.
Were you alone in the car or with anyone else when this happened?
When the accident happened, no. I was alone.
You were alone. So you're driving in your complex alone, dark, 2 o'clock in the morning. And what happens?
I was getting chased by, I thought, somebody scary. I didn't know who it was. I kept looking behind me, the nose to tail through one lot and then on a main street. And then as I was entering my lot and realized that this car was still going to stay behind me and was following me in, and oh my gosh, I only have one entrance, one exit. I'm looking to see who it was. Hopefully I was thinking I would recognize them, hit the side of the carport wall. Actually, I thought I was stopped. I was going like 2 or 3 miles an hour. I was scared.
Okay. But it was dark, so you couldn't see in the car. You couldn't see in the car behind you.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Schmidt, you are out at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And you see this lady's car.
That's correct.
There are not a lot of cars out on the road at that hour.
Not at all.
So tell me what you did, sir.
I came into the complex approximately 1:30, quarter to 2. I checked my mail, and I was leaving the complex because I live on the other side of the complex. There's 2 entrances to the complex. I noticed Miss Saunders' vehicle to my left. She was dropping off a gentleman at the supermarket, about a quarter of a mile away from the house, real close by.
Okay.
Go ahead.
She proceeds to drive in front of me. I take a right-hand turn and follow behind her. I catch up to her pretty quickly.
Why?
It's only a 1/10 of a mile.
Why were you catching up with her?
Because I was wondering what the hell was going on. She was dropping some guy off at the supermarket, and she was married, and I just didn't understand it.
Just a sec. Shh, shh, Miss Saunders. Shh. So you were curious?
Partly.
What's the other part?
I just came up upon her quick and flashed my lights.
Why?
I have no reason.
Hmm?
I don't have a reason. Just to say hello.
Well,
and
first
let her
of
know
all,
it was
what
me.
business of yours if she were dropping off half a dozen sailors at the supermarket and if she were married? What business is that of yours?
None of my business.
So you followed her?
Followed her, it was only 1/10 of a mile.
Assuming that's correct, you followed her for a 1/10 of a mile.
Into the complex where I also live.
Close up.
Correct.
And then at some point you flashed your lights. How many times did you flash your lights?
Once, twice at the most.
A couple of times. So that your lights went on, so...
Sure.
And that was to get her attention.
Correct. She was driving real slow at this point in time, and I was like, step it up.
So first you're following her, and then you wanted to go faster. Is that what I'm
She's
getting?
driving approximately 8 miles an hour into the complex. Yes, I did.
Why didn't you go around her?
It's only 1/10 of a mile from... I couldn't go around her. There's no possible way.
Well, if you weren't following her, you would have been ahead of her.
I wasn't following her. We lived
No,
in
if
the
you
same...
weren't following her that 1/10 of a mile to see who she was dropping off a quarter of a mile away, then you wouldn't have been... Then you would have been in the complex and safe and snug as a bug in a rug in your bed.
So be it.
Now, you acknowledge that she hit the side of this wall.
That's correct.
You saw that.
That's correct.
But you say that your car never came into contact with her car, and therefore you are not responsible for any of the damage. That's your position.
That's correct.
That's your position.
That's my position, that's my insurance company's position, and that's her insurance company's position.
It ain't my position. Put your hand down. Have to give your insurance company and her insurance company and you a brief lesson in tort law. Torts, you know what that is? Negligence. But for your conduct that night, Mr. Schmidt, this accident would not have taken place. Your reckless driving, reckless, and I don't care if you're going 2 miles an hour or 8 miles an hour, your reckless driving that night caused this woman, who had no idea who you were, you could have been the California stalker, for all she knew, following her at 2 o'clock in the morning into a deserted complex where she had to park her car. She had a good right to be nervous. You should have been smart enough to know if she turned around, she couldn't see you because it's dark. You can't see faces in a car at dark at night. Right, so you acted like a fool.
Sally Saunders hit a condo wall with her car after her neighbor, Kevin Schmidt, flashed his headlights at her, startling her. Kevin says his insurance company claims it wasn't his fault.
If some nut was following me at 2 o'clock in the morning as I was entering the parking lot of my complex, where I knew there would be no assistance, it would make me very nervous. And since you had been following her, according to you, for a 1/10 of a mile, which is longer than from here to here, much longer, and once you got up real close to her, then you flashed your lights, that would make the heart of any reasonable person, man or woman, a little bit nervous. it might even make my good friend here, Officer Byrd, very nervous. Would it make you a little nervous?
Just a little, Judge.
He certainly wouldn't like it if somebody did that to his daughter.
Definitely not.
So, but for your actions that night, she wouldn't have damaged her car, and she wouldn't have damaged the carport. And if your insurance company doesn't appreciate that, and her insurance company doesn't appreciate that...
Mine does appreciate it, I'm sorry.
Just a second.
Okay.
Then if your insurance company appreciates it, just a second, then I assume that they're going to pay for some of the damage. Is that right? Shh. Just answer my question. Yes. Good, so that you have a certain amount of money that you're going to be out of pocket, which is, I assume now, what you're suing him for.
That's part of it.
What is your out-of-pocket expense for the car?
For the car, a $500 deductible.
Okay, and how much damage was done to the car?
Around $1,700.
But certainly you're going to be into your deductible. You just have an estimate?
It's already been done. I don't have the, yes, I have an estimate.
Okay. Let me just take a look at it.
Okay. Paperwork, I can't. Right.
Or anything from your insurance company.
Can I please say something about my insurance company? First of all, it was reversed. It was ruled to be his fault. The police report says, caused by Kevin Schmidt.
Ms. Saunders, do I look like I needed help? I've already ruled in your favor. I'm just trying to get an amount. And I got other things to do today. It's a long day.
Okay.
All right, so let's go. Just give me something from the insurance company which says that you're out of pocket $500 for the car. That's all I want to say.
Someday I hope I can find it. I don't know where it is right now. It's an estimate I just had printed out. It must be in the other papers in the background.
Okay. Are you telling me under oath that you are out of pocket $500 for the car?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now give me the cost of this that you're going to be charged for this carport.
My insurance company paid for it. I am not getting charged for it, in all honesty.
Fine. Well, of course I want you to be honest.
Yeah.
Good.
But
what?
Attorney's fees. I got charged with hit and run for this accident.
You did?
Yes, I did. Kevin is a board member at this association. I was going to go in and call the police. Got in the house. After Kevin said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything," you know, I said, "Well, let's call the police just to be sure." When we got in there, I didn't hit your car. They're going to say it's your fault, Sally. Why don't you claim it on your insurance? I'll take care of the deductible. Ended up calling the police in the morning. I said, you know, I need to go to sleep. I need to think about it. Him just being there, I notified the association because he is a board member. He represents the association. He ran across Rhea King, the resident manager there, early in the morning. She had seen, obviously, green paint on my car, the wall damaged. She must have hit it. They ran into each other, spoke, "Good morning, what's up, Kevin?" "Nothing, Rhea." Didn't say a word about it. She files a hit and run report. I go to court. Okay, there's the $975 for the attorney's fees.
You actually paid the $975?
Yes, I did.
You have a bill for that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Unbelievably, I do. These are everything pertaining to that. I'm supposed to bring it. Also, because I didn't pay my homeowner's dues, I believe that he's responsible for the whole snowball effect.
No. It's got to stop someplace.
Well,
Listen to
if
me.
I had to pay the attorney...
Then you couldn't pay your homeowner's dues, therefore you got to...
And that's where it ends.
All right,
that's what I feel he is connected with.
No, he's connected with...
And punitive damages also. Seriously, all the hours I put in and the stress, the embarrassment, the humiliation of going to court, it just went on and on.
Were you arrested?
Not put in jail, but cited, you know, for it at my home.
Cited for leaving the scene of an accident.
But I was in my home when I was cited for it. Still.
I understand. And you don't think any of this is your fault?
I think part of it is my fault. No, I should not have flashed my lights. I do take some responsibility, yes.
Well, don't you realize, Mr. Schmidt, that using the but-for test, but for your actions, she wouldn't have all this aggravation, that you are totally responsible?
She wouldn't have been so startled if she hadn't dropped off her boyfriend a quarter mile down the road.
Okay. That's the issue here.
Sure. Miss Saunders.
She told me that's why she was startled. She thought I was her husband.
Just a second.
Oh,
sure.
my God.
Miss Saunders. Miss Saunders. Who made you the morality monitor?
Plus,
you may be a board member, but you're certainly not the morality monitor. And if she wants to be nervous, let us assume that what you say is true. She dropped off her boyfriend and she was nervous. But for your actions, she wouldn't have been nervous and had an accident. She might have been nervous, but she wouldn't have had an accident.
Sally Saunders hit a condo wall with her car after her neighbor, Kevin Schmidt, flashed his headlights at her, startling her. Kevin says his insurance company claims it wasn't his fault.
I believe that because you didn't fess up right from the beginning, next morning, you didn't tell the resident manager, listen, I caused an accident yesterday because I was acting like a moron. and I'm prepared to pay the damage for it. I know it was on, Miss Saunders' car, and she actually hit the wall, but it was really my fault, and I'm going to take care of it. And say to her immediately, I'm going to take care of the car, that a whole snowball thing took hold, and she spent lots of time. She had to go to a lawyer. She had to spend time with a lawyer. She had to go to court. She probably suffered embarrassment, all because of you.
Judge, the resident manager and I had no words the next morning.
You should have.
I called her.
Just a second. You should have.
I did. I called her at 9 a.m.
And what happened?
And I asked her, I said, did you notice the damage to the wall?
Just a second. Yes.
She said, yes, I did.
Yes.
I go, do you know how it was caused? She said, yes, it did. And I said, that's why I'm calling you to let you know.
Just a second. And you said, she said, yes, I do.
I wanted her to be apprised.
Just a second. Just a second. That conversation doesn't tell it, Mr. Schmidt. She says, yes, I do. Miss Saunders' car hit the wall because that's what she's saying, and because I saw the green paint on her car and I saw the green paint on her wall. Did you tell her that I caused the accident?
I told her that I startled Miss Saunders by my high beams of my car. Yes, I did.
And did you tell her that I will take care of any repairs to the wall?
I did not.
Right. Because that would have cost you money.
It would have cost my insurance company money, yes.
I don't care. It would cost you money or your insurance company money. It wouldn't have caused her any aggravation if you fessed up like a man. Right at the beginning, it would have, because then the resident manager would not have called the police, and if she had already called the police, she would have called them back and said, listen, forget about that whole complaint, because I found out how it happened, and it was really an unfortunate set of circumstances, and she wouldn't have been cited, and she wouldn't have had to have these lawyers' fees and go to court if you had done the right thing, which you didn't. So you have to pay. Well, your bills are $1,475. Shh. Quiet, Miss Saunders. You're suing for $4,000. I'm awarding you $2,500.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I totally disagree with the judge's decision, but I do respect it.
He kept following me, and then I started getting scared, thinking I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared. And no, I wasn't cheating on my husband.
Todd started screaming profanities at me, and I just looked at him and said, I'm not stopping.
My husband was just a bear defending his wife and his cubs.
The day the dog sitter met the neighbors head on.
He proceeded to come around, bash my car twice with his fist.
I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know how mad you are. I don't know what kind of Looney Tune you are.
Exactly.
I don't know.
He's on Bentley versus O'Brien. Step forward, please.
Professional dog sitter Colleen Bentley claims mechanical engineer Daniel O'Brien bashed her car with his fists, denting it. Daniel says she was speeding, endangering his children.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 52 on the calendar in the matter of Bentley versus O'Brien. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Bentley, according to your complaint, you were driving to your job, a job that you frequently drove to.
Every day.
Every day. You were a dog walker?
Dog sitter.
Dog sitter. Mm-hmm. And you had to pass the defendant's house in order to get to that job. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
According to your complaint, without provocation, the defendant attacked your car by hitting your car, causing damage to the car.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien, you seem to indicate in your answer that you did, in fact, hit the plaintiff's car.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
that you did so in anger,
Yes, I
and
did.
you were justified.
I feel so.
So why don't you start by telling me what happened, Miss Bentley?
I was going to my job, which is the house up prior to theirs. I started to go by their home, and his wife ran out and started calling me an effing pig and a slob, and said I was going too fast up her road, that this was her driveway, and she was going to call the police. So I just drove by, went in the house, and I happened to look down at her, and I said, I'm sorry I wasn't going that fast, because she wasn't stopping. I was petrified of her. I had no way out of this house. If I needed to get out, I was afraid.
You mean it's a common driveway?
It's a common driveway, yes. And,
so you have to pass their house in order to get to your place of employment?
Exactly. I got up there.
How fast were you going?
You can't go more than 5 miles an hour, if that, up that road. I have pictures here, Your Honor, of the driveway, of the road to go up. It's a gravel, small, one-way driveway, hilly, curvy. I can't go more than 5 miles an hour if I wanted to.
So what happened?
So I got up there. I told Tracy, the dog, that we could not go down through there. I was too afraid. Took her out in the backyard to go to the bathroom. Proceeded to finish my job, to leave and to go back down, and proceeded to drive down slowly, and he came running out like an animal. I'm shaking standing here next to him at this point right now because I'm petrified of him. And started screaming profanities at me, and I just looked at him and said, I'm not stopping, I'm afraid. He proceeded to come around, bash my car twice with his fist, bash my window. I don't know how he didn't go through my window with his fist, and hit the back end of my car. And at this point, I proceeded to just go down to the end of the road and call the police. And they came.
And this was the damage that was caused to the car?
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien?
My story is a bit different, Judge. My wife had just come home. The children were in the middle of our driveway, which is no more than 8 or 10 feet wide.
You're lying.
Shh. Miss Bentley.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
They were walking down towards me. They were behind a brush pile of wood. My wife yelled, "There's a car coming, fast." I yelled to them to come. They started to run. There was absolutely no way that this woman could have seen those children unless she's got x-ray vision behind the brush. They got to me, and then this gold car drove by, certainly not at 5 miles an hour, because I had never seen this car go 5 miles before. So essentially,
how fast do you think that the car was going, sir?
I would say 20 or 25.
20 to 25 is still not speeding. Is there a speed limit posted?
Well, the posted speed limit on Mill Road, which is the nearest road, is 15 miles an hour.
Is 15?
15.
All right.
So essentially, the car went by me. My wife was in the middle of our driveway, in front of our house, and I will defer to my wife because she's the one that really dealt at that point with the plaintiff.
May I interject, Your Honor?
Sure. I was out of it.
I'm Sharon O'Brien. 20 to 25 miles an hour on a very narrow driveway, whether who owns it or not, with 2 children, a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old, as you see, Your Honor, is excessive speed.
Okay.
I walked out.
I could not
the children.
have gone 25 miles an hour on that road.
The plaintiff, Your Honor, I ran out. The children ran down the hill. There's pictures, if you have the
They
pictures.
were not even there.
Listen to me, Miss Bentley. They were quiet when you were testifying. Is that right?
Yes, I'm sorry, but they're
so
lying.
Listen to me. They
sorry.
were quiet when you were testifying. You have to be quiet. Now it's their turn.
Okay.
Good.
I had come back from the park with the children, came out of the garage. Children ran down the hill to see their father. I heard the car come and yelled, stepped in the middle of the driveway, said, "Slow down." I did not swear, Your Honor. I had a tendency to swear, but I did not at that point. The plaintiff plowed through me. I stepped out of the way for fear of my life. She went to the house, be honest, which is about a half football field length. She got out. I had yelled to her, because I have a mouth, "Slow down or I'll call the cops." She said, "Shut up." I said, "I will not shut up, you pig. I'm on my property." It's a gravel driveway. Again, Your Honor, it's not very wide. I have 2 children. I have signs that say slow down. I was feeling she's endangering the welfare of my minors, and that's where I stood. I was an angry mother. I was protecting my children, and I feared for their lives, Your Honor. And no one in the 11 years that I lived there have ever violated and has sped the way this woman has. And I'm the one who was afraid, and my husband was just defending, he's a bear defending his wife and his cubs. I'm sorry.
I understand how you feel, but Mr. O'Brien.
I did not utter a word to this woman.
You're
I
not
put my
here.
hand like this, and she just kept on coming. And indeed, when she came, I put my hands on the car, And then I did hit it, yes. I cannot stand here and deny that I didn't hit it.
So, Mr. O'Brien, here's what we got. Assuming that she was going between 20 and 25 miles an hour, which is fast, because if you hit a child going 20 or 25 miles an hour, you can kill him.
Exactly.
Truth of the matter is, Mr. O'Brien, if you hit a child going 5 miles an hour, you can kill them.
Exactly.
I understand your frustration. You can't do this to her car, sir.
Colleen Bentley says Daniel O'Brien dented her car with his fists. Daniel says she was driving too fast and he was protecting his family.
From Miss Bentley's perspective, she's driving a car. Assume she's driving at 20 miles an hour. She sees you coming out there. She's just had a verbal altercation with your wife that got relatively heated. She's a woman alone in a car. She sees you coming out, telling her to stop. To be quite honest with you, Mr. O'Brien, I wouldn't stop. Because I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know how mad you are. I don't know what kind of Looney Tune you are.
Exactly.
I don't know. No, I really don't know. Now, Miss Bentley. First, you're going to show me the estimates for the damage to your car.
I also have a police report. I don't know if you want to see that.
No, it's not
Okay.
necessary. Mr. O'Brien's got the scope. He understands everything.
Okay.
Did you have the car fixed?
Not yet, Your Honor, no.
Uh-huh. You have insurance on the car?
Yes.
What's your deductible?
500.
So your real out-of-pocket expense of 500. So, Miss Bentley, he was absolutely wrong.
Thank you.
To attack your car. I wasn't there. You can understand, however, that he's got 2 little kids who he felt threatened by your car going up this road too fast. Now, you say you couldn't have been going more than 5 miles an hour. I would probably estimate it was somewhere in between.
You can't, there's a dip there, so you can't.
I'm not saying you were speeding going 65 miles an hour, madam, but you
Right.
can go 15, 20, 25 miles an hour without hitting your head against
I
the
was
top of the car.
petrified. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean,
I was scared.
You were scared, so you were going faster. Mr. O'Brien and Mrs. O'Brien do not strike me as being lunatics. He did a foolish thing, but he doesn't strike me as being a lunatic. So, you have to be careful when you drive a car. You never know where little kids are going to come from. Mr. O'Brien, I said to you, I understand your frustration, sir. You cannot deal with it this way.
I had no intentions of doing it,
Good.
Judge.
Even your wife knows she dealt with her words. She probably used a lot of words.
Could have. From the New York area, Your Honor, I held my tongue.
Okay. This you can't do. So it's going to cost you $500. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $500, which is her out-of-pocket expenses. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's over. She's gone, and we don't want any more of her.
I'm scared just standing here next to him, to be honest with you.
And now the next case.
Parties on Scully versus Metcalf. Step forward, please.
47-year-old truck driver David Scully claims next-door neighbor, 43-year-old city worker Timothy Metcalf, assaulted him. Timothy says his neighbor left grass clippings on his driveway.
How long have the two of you been neighbors?
Since he moved in, which he'll have to answer that. I can't remember exactly.
So you were there first?
Yes.
How long have you been living in this house?
I've been living in my house since 1990, Your Honor.
Okay. And you had a complaint. And your complaint was that he mowed his lawn and got some of his grass clippings on your clean driveway.
Right. Dave came out and blew all his stuff over in front of my property.
So you went over to his house.
I went over it. That's correct.
And then it sort of gets fuzzy because you claim that he assaulted you and he claims that you actually assaulted him. So why don't we start from there? Mowing your lawn.
Right. I have a picture of the front lawn. As a matter of fact, if you'd like to see, there's a 1-foot wall separating our property at the ground level, and there are dense shrubs separating our property at eye level. If you'd care to take a look at the...
Sure. You mean this brown part is your lawn?
Is it brown? I didn't really notice.
Pretty brown. Should
Okay.
feed it. So there's a little wall that separates the two houses.
12 inches high.
Okay. You mowed your lawn. It's got the little thing that blows all the grass all over the place because it doesn't collect the grass, right?
Correct. Would you like me to tell you how that happened?
Sure.
Okay. Well, as I said in my statement, I mowed the lawn, and there is that barrier, both.
I heard about the barrier.
and the
Can we move
visual
on? I have
barrier.
other cases.
I went inside for about 20 minutes watching TV. The bell rang. I came outside. There's my neighbor, Timothy Metcalf. I asked him what he wanted, and he was not over there for discussion. He said,
Just tell me what he said.
would you like me to tell you how he said it, too?
Yes, I
I'll try
will.
to imitate him. Hey, man, I just went over there and I cleaned my driveway, and you mowed your lawn, you got grass clippings all over it. You know I just cleaned it, and you did it on purpose. Now get over there and clean it up. And that's exactly how it happened, Your Honor.
So then what happened?
I was standing right at my front door, and I said, I really don't appreciate you coming over here, speaking to me this way, giving me orders like that. Then he said, hey, man, I had enough of your shit, man. I can kick the shit out of you, man. And I said, well, you think you can. I know I can, man. Hey. Then what he did is he reached down with his left hand, because he carried either a phone or a walkie-talkie or a radio, and hit me in the side of my head, and I have pictures here to show you the results. I grabbed him. We tussled. I took him to the ground. I held him down. And as soon as I got him down, I started calling for somebody to call the police. Finally, his family and the neighbor across the street came over, and I got off of him. Even then, as soon as I got off of him, I separated myself as quickly as I could, went across to the other end of my driveway by the sidewalk, and they had to hold him back. He's getting up, let me at him, let me at him. Finally, his wife escorted him back to his house, and that's exactly what happened, Your Honor.
David Scully claims next-door neighbor Timothy Metcalf hit him in the head. Timothy says his neighbor made a mess of his driveway.
Okay. Mr. Metcalf, I'll hear you, sir.
Your Honor, my wife and my daughter went outside, attempted to start sweeping the stuff up that he had blew all over in front of our house. He came outside, stood from here to there, and started chanting to them, you know, as to humiliate them.
No, just a minute. What did he say?
Just some kind of, like he was talking in tongues, singing, you know, making fun of them.
Just a second. Mr. Metcalf, I'm having a difficult time following you because
Okay.
you are drawing conclusions. You're not telling me
okay.
what you heard, sir.
Okay. I waited about 15 minutes. I went over. I knocked on the door. I said, Dave, I go, you know, I don't understand why you just did what you did. I go, you seen I just was out here for over 2 hours. He told me, in his words, he didn't see no problem with it, that he would do it again, and that if I couldn't come over and talk to him in a better way, I need to get the F off his property.
Okay.
But I did not go over, cuss him. I did not threaten him. I did not go over with no intentions to fight this man.
What you're telling me, Mr. Metcalf, is you spoke to him at that moment in the exact same tone of voice as you're talking to me? Is that what you're trying?
No.
Is that what you want me to believe?
No.
Of course not. I didn't think that you would want me to
No.
believe that, Mr. Metcalf,
No,
because
not at all.
that's not true. So what happened after you said, why are you doing this?
And so then he just started cussing and going off. The next thing I know, he's just jumping around on his porch, cussing and fussing. And I was like, hey, you know, I just came over to talk to you about what you had done. And the next thing I know, he drew back to hit me. And the next thing I know, we were fighting. And David was on top of me,
Just a second.
trying to bite me.
When did you hit him with the phone?
I did not take a phone over there, Your Honor. Those injuries, David, occurred during the scuffle when he jumped on me and took me to the ground.
Your Honor?
Yes.
You see the blood coming down on the side of the face. That was caused by him striking me with a phone or whatever object he hit me with.
Well, there did come a time when you were both going at it,
Well,
going
yes,
at each
after
other.
he hit me, I grabbed him.
I understand that.
Yes, Your Honor.
After, the question is, who struck the first blow?
Well, I can answer
That's
that.
I'm not asking you to answer that.
Yes, sir.
I know the answer to that question. He did.
I did not strike him, Your Honor.
I think you did.
Why is it not possible that he attacked me and I, you know, did not hit him?
Do you want to know why, Mr.
Why?
Metcalf? I'm
Why?
going to tell you why, sir.
Why?
Because life is a series of events that usually have a common sense theme that runs through it. You had just spent, according to you, 2 hours making sure that your property is pristine. Everything is perfect. He comes out and messes up the property that you've just cleaned up. And then if I continue to believe you, your wife and your daughter were humiliated by him when they went outside to clean up this mess that he had made. And not only humiliated by him, but if I believe you, Mr. Metcalf, you heard him outside whistling or singing to further humiliate your wife, whom I assume you love, and your daughter, whom I assume you love. Then, according to you, you spend 15 minutes having a discussion with yourself in the garage about what to do about this situation. And then you decide to go to his house and confront him. Now, all those things put together, common sense suggests to me that you did not go over there really angry. Now, he may not be a terrific neighbor. I can quite frankly, Mr. Metcalf, see that he could be a little bit of a pain in the neck.
Your Honor.
Speak not, Mr. Scully. I can see that. That's not why we're here.
Right.
We're here because he alleges that you came to his home and assaulted him. And whether you like him or not, whether he's a pain in the neck or not, whether he's a good neighbor or not, whether he's like a boil on your behind or not, you can't go over and hit him.
Your Honor.
So, say nothing. You don't want to say anymore, Mr. Metcalf. I'm telling you that I've just made a determination based on all the reasons I told you why I believe that as much of a nudnik as he might be, you assaulted him, and you can't do that. Now, let me hear about your injury, sir.
First, if I may object to I don't know how much time you want to give this. I'd like
Just
to
a
object
second.
to several issues.
Just a second. I don't have any more time.
Okay.
I asked you a question. There are two determinations in an assault case, sir.
Okay, one of the injuries...
Hey, so you have see my mouth moving?
Okay.
What? Hey. A, who assaulted whom? I've already made that decision. B, the issue of damages. You are suing for almost $5,000. I asked to see medical bills for medical treatment.
No medical bills.
I have seen none because you say you treated yourself, which means that your injuries were not severe.
You're right.
Good.
I'd like him to apologize and to admit
He's
that...
not going to apologize,
Okay.
Mr. Scully, but he's going to pay $500 judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You must have said, will you marry me? Does that sound familiar?
Marriage seemed to me the best Bible way of living.
But they got unhitched after she climbed on stage at a Yanni concert.
I found that she had a drinking problem. She stopped the show.
I am totally shocked. It really is irrelevant who decided to terminate the relationship because in all probability it would have ended in disaster.
Parties on Brewer versus Wilson. Step forward, please.
Computer engineer Laval Brewer Jr. wants his ex-fiancée, Felicia Wilson, a nurse, to return her engagement and wedding rings. Felicia says she already gave the rings back.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 110 on the calendar in the matter of Brewer versus Wilson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Brewer, how long were you acquainted with the defendant before you became engaged?
About 2 years. I had been employed at the medical center, and she was a nurse at the same center.
How long did you date before you became engaged?
About 3 months.
And according to your complaint, you bought some engagement rings.
Yes.
Did you go shopping for it together?
We went together, and she picked it out. And I just stood back and watched because she had made the comment that that was the binding contract for our relationship to be a solid union.
Well, you must, Mr. Brewer, you must have said, will you marry me? Does that sound familiar? At some point, you must have said, will you marry me?
I did after she encountered the comment that in order for us to be a bond, that we need to make this a continuity thing. And I said, yes, I'll do that in order to make this a binding thing. I want to get us married and so we can have something to go on. But like I said, 2 years prior to meeting her, I only met her in coordination of going back and forth through my job.
So you really were dated for 3 months, although you knew her for 2 years.
Right.
You went shopping for the rings together, is that right so
That's
far?
true.
Bought the ring. How much did you pay for the rings?
It was $2,600.
Okay. And then the engagement was broken.
Yes. We went to a concert, and she got, I found that she had a drinking problem, and I didn't know that. And it became more and more aware of it by the fact that she began to act violently. Like, we went to a concert, and the concert was Yanni, and she stopped the show.
she went up on the stage and actually stopped the show.
Is that true?
No, that is not true.
Did you go to a concert, a Yanni concert?
Yes, we went to a concert.
What happened
together.
there?
We just left the concert because of his behavior, because we could not get along. We were starting to...
I'm sorry.
We had already been having some disagreements, and we just could not connect as to what we should do in the concert.
Okay. Let's pass the concert and let's go on to the broken engagement.
Okay.
For whatever reason, you decided it was not a good idea that you marry. Is that right?
How that ended is what we had got an apartment together. She couldn't get an apartment. She said she wanted to get away from her household because she was having problems there, and she wanted to develop into more of an adult. And so we were going to make that move, and then when she came in, she wanted to buy clothing because she wanted to take a trip. She bought clothing, and we just did a whole lot of things together. And during this situation, at the end is when I had gotten financially just diluted to the point I didn't have anything left. She said that she didn't want any more to do it. I told her because we couldn't pay the bills. We couldn't pay the bills.
Were you living
anymore.
together at the time?
Yes, we were.
How long had you lived together?
For about a month.
You decided that you weren't going to marry.
She decided that.
She decided. Tell me about that moment when you told him that you didn't want to marry him.
Well, first off, we had irreconcilable differences. Lavelle, he was extremely verbally abusive. He was manipulative. He tried to control my accounts. He wanted to control my finances. I had gotten an apartment by myself. I had moved in. A few days later, he moved in with me. So I told him that I would pay all the bills, which I did. I paid for the rent.
You only lived together for a month.
Which is true.
Okay, so you only lived together for a month. We're not talking about the national debt. Okay. You decided you didn't want to marry him. According to him, you broke it off. Tell me about that evening or day when you told him you didn't want to marry him.
I told him that I can't take this anymore. No matter what I do, it was never enough. I couldn't take him.
So you told him you didn't. What did you do with the rings when you told him you didn't want to marry him?
I gave him the rings back.
No, she didn't. No,
I put the rings in his hands. I told him, I do not want to marry you anymore. I cannot take this abuse at all.
Then why, Miss Wilson, would you think that he filed this lawsuit against you for the return of the rings?
I'm astounded that he filed this lawsuit against me. I am totally shocked.
Did you buy these rings on time? Were you paying them off, or did you pay for them all at one time?
Oh, no, I'm still paying them.
Let me see the proof that you're still paying for them.
I just got the proof that I purchased. I didn't bring the paperwork that I'm still paying for them because I have that. I'm paying through it through credit, consumer credit.
It would certainly have been helpful, sir, to establish to my satisfaction that you are still paying off these rings.
I filed bankruptcy, and they told me that I couldn't pay them off. I had to turn the rings back in. And so then I had to go to consumer credit to put it in, and all they gave me was a number. They didn't give me a... I started to bring that, but it didn't have anything to...
When did you file for personal bankruptcy?
About a year afterwards, because they told me...
Why did you file for bankruptcy?
Because she had ran up all my credit. I had all my credit cards ran up to the end. I had furniture that I had bought for her that I also couldn't pay, and I was.
Who has the furniture?
She has the furniture.
Do you have the furniture?
I don't have his furniture. I have my own furniture.
Who paid for it?
I paid for it. I paid for it cash.
How much was this furniture that you purchased?
The furniture I purchased was approximately $2,500 because I brought living room, dinette set. That's what I purchased.
And you paid for that in cash?
I paid for it in cash because I was scheduled to go on vacation this year. So I used my vacation money to move into the apartment because he didn't even put any money down on an apartment.
You used your vacation money. Go ahead.
I used my vacation money to move into the apartment and to purchase the furniture for the
How much was the rent on the apartment?
The apartment was $835 a month.
Okay. And you had to put down security, another $835?
True.
And you purchased furniture, according to you, of $2,500.
True.
Okay, all in 1 month.
True.
Now, would you tell me what your annual salary is at this nursing job?
$60,000 a year.
Is that what you were earning when you were together?
Yes, I was.
Mm-hmm. How long have you had this job for $60,000 a year?
11 years.
Have you ever been away from your job?
In terms of?
Illness?
Yes, I have.
When?
I was away from my job, first off, and this second off will be 1996.
And that was for hospitalization?
Yes, it was.
Prior to that, when were you hospitalized?
I was hospitalized approximately in 1993.
Is that the same hospital?
Different hospital, but same circumstances.
Laval Brewer Jr. claims his ex-fiancée, Felicia Wilson, didn't return her engagement ring after they broke up.
You know what the diagnosis is for your illness?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Manic depression, bipolar disorder.
You take medication for that?
Yes, I am.
Since 1996, have you had a recurrence?
It was in 1997. That's the last time I was hospitalized.
How much after the breakup of your engagement were you hospitalized?
It was approximately 9 months after the breakup.
What was the date of the breakup of the engagement?
I believe it was around about May. It was right after we had come from Ensenada, and she had had an erratic, she just started throwing things at me for no reason. And then when she came back, she apologized and said everything would be okay. And
Mr.
I was
Brewer,
right after that we broke up.
Mr. Brewer, did you know that Miss Wilson had a history of psychiatric disorder?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. She told me that after we got together and we were dating, then she told me. But I didn't know it prior to that.
What did she tell you?
She told me that after we got together and we moved into the apartment, then she told me, she says, this is where my doctor is. And I'm saying like, okay. And he says, because sometimes I have this problem, and this way we're close to where we can go to him and it won't be far away. And then that's when I found out what she had been committed for.
Mr. Brewer, Miss Wilson says that at the time that the relationship was terminated, she took the rings and put them in your hand. Is that true, sir?
No, that's absolutely a lie. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Miss Wilson, have you had any contact with each other since your relationship terminated?
I haven't spoken with him in over almost 3 years.
What school were you going to, by the way?
Cal State Dominguez.
For what?
I was obtaining my degree in nursing.
You mean you didn't have a degree in nursing before?
Well, I have my associate's degree. I graduated from a 2-year college. Then later on, I went back for my baccalaureate degree.
And did you get it? Did
Yes,
you graduate?
I did. Yes, I did.
In what year?
I just graduated. I finished all the courses. I graduated 1998 of May.
And you're telling me that as a recent graduate, a recent nursing graduate, you're making $60,000 a year?
Yes, I am telling you that.
Now, can you think of any reason, Miss Wilson, why Mr. Brewer would want the return of the engagement rings that he said he gave you if you had already returned them to him?
Perhaps he's still holding a grudge or something. I really don't know, because I thought that the relationship had ended with me giving him the rings back. So I'm really shocked that he is suing me for this amount.
Well, I have to make a judgment at this time based upon common sense and based upon my evaluation of the parties as to who I believe. Quite frankly, Mr. Brewer, I believe that you never got the rings back.
That's true, Your Honor.
And Miss Wilson is not going to be forthcoming with those rings, wherever they are. So you are entitled to the rings back because the contract of marriage was broken. According to the defendant, she broke the contract. But it really is irrelevant who decided to terminate the relationship, because in all probability it would have ended in disaster. So you're both probably better off. But she had the responsibility of returning the rings, and quite frankly, madam, I do not believe that you returned them. So I am awarding the plaintiff the amount of $2,599, which is the cost of the rings. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We went to the concert, and she stopped the concert. We went to a couple other incidences that showed that she was not wrapped tight.
Perhaps he still has some feelings. I'm not sure. I wish him well.
And now the next case.
Parties on James versus Morgan. Step forward, please.
24-year-old toy collector Marcy James claims former friend, 24-year-old film student Ben Morgan, refuses to return her collector edition Brady Bunch game. Ben says she can have it back when she pays for his broken camcorder.
How long have the two of you been friends?
Since kindergarten.
You went to a party at his house and you had just bought a board game.
That's correct.
That board game.
That's correct.
A vintage board game.
Yes. Very collectible.
You're into collectibles.
That's right.
I assume you brought me some of the other things that you collect.
Brady Bunch collectibles. Yes.
Isn't that terrific? And you brought it to your house to show your friends?
Yeah, she had just bought this a few days prior and wanted to show me.
And while you were at the party, according to your answer, sir, she got a little tipsy, was taking pictures with that camcorder over there.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's a pretty old camcorder. Looks like a dinosaur. Right?
It used to work, yeah.
Marcy James claims former friend Ben Morgan refuses to return her collector edition Brady Bunch game.
You say she broke your camcorder when she was taking some pictures. So you're holding the Brady Bunch board game as hostage. How much did you pay for that board game?
$375.
$375.
And I have a receipt for it.
Need the receipt for it.
Okay.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a toy collector.
A toy collector?
Yes.
So you make a business of that, and when you do, resell them?
Yep.
How many years have you been making a living at this?
Almost 10 years now.
You're kidding me?
No.
Okay, so it's clear that's her board game. Now, tell me, sir, about this
But that is not the condition it was when I had taken it to his house for the party. It was in, because I had just gotten it like the week before. It was in plastic wrap. I mean, this looks totally
It was like in a
thrashed.
plastic bag, not like it was
Miss
brand
James.
new. Like.
Miss James, you left it there. There was a party going
But
on.
it's like smashed. It's
Listen
like,
to me. Listen to me, madam. Okay. You've been in this business, you said, for a decade.
Yeah.
You want to keep your things in pristine condition, you keep them in the bag, and
They
you
were.
and when you leave the house, you take them with you.
Well, that
But
wasn't,
what?
Well, he said he was going to hold on to it, and I went to pick it up the next day.
Why did you go the next day? Why didn't you take it that night?
Because I didn't want to carry it, I guess.
Because you were drunk.
Give me a break. Come on. So, what makes you think she broke your camcorder?
Well, the day after the party, I was cleaning up, and I found my camcorder. It wasn't where I left it, and as you can see, it looks like this now. Like this thing won't shut.
Fine, it won't
and, like,
shut.
the wires are like
and
all.
the wires
it's
are
all
out. What
messed
makes
up.
you think that she's responsible for the condition of your
Because
camcorder?
when I took the tape out from the camcorder to watch it in my VCR, the very last thing on the tape is her taping stuff, and like she falls. Like you totally see it in the video. She falls in it, like, and that's when it broke.
Well, how do you know that's when it broke?
Because it worked before that, and no one else used it.
How do you know no one else used it? How do you know no one else
Because
touched
there's nothing
it?
else on the tape.
So what?
I put it back in my closet.
You know, Mr. Morgan, you're going to tell me a lot of baloney stories, just like she's going to try to tell me a lot of baloney stories. I'm going to throw you both out of here. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir? What I'm saying to you is, did you see her break your camcorder?
No, Your Honor. I
Good.
did not.
And the only circumstantial evidence that you have is that you believe that she was the last one to tape on it.
If you would watch the tape, Your Honor, it shows her taping with the camcorder, and she falls, and it totally
How can you
and
see
it
that
breaks.
she's? How can you see her taping?
And you hear her voice, and you hear someone say, "Marcy, what are you doing?" or "Marcy," and that's when she fell.
Let us assume she fell,
Yes.
and then you don't hear anything else on the tape.
Right, because it broke. The sound went out after that.
Then you don't hear anything else on the tape.
But the video kept going.
So what?
So if she fell with the camera,
Yes.
and the sound goes out, and the video goes, you know, blippy,
Yes.
it's broken.
And how many other people used it?
No one.
How do you know that?
When I was done
How do you know that?
Because I put it back in my room. I put it back in my closet.
You got an answer for everything. You put it back in your closet. You mean she went to your closet and got it out of your closet?
That she must have.
Did
She
you go to
know-
his
I mean,
closet?
she knows
Did you
where
go
all
to
my
his closet and take the camcorder out of his closet?
No.
No. Oh, please, do me a favor. Listen to me. You see that Brady Bunch board game? I don't know where these people are coming from. Give it back to her. Perfect.
If you could see how she was at the party, like.
Excuse me.
Now you have your
Look at this. It's totally ripped. This is not worth.
Listen, you got to take better care of your things, people, both of you. Now you have the board game back. Now you have your camera back. Goodbye.
I just had excuse. You may step out.
She's always jumping up in some guy's face.
The problem is, this time when they were fooling around,
something was broken.
Her necklace snapped, and she wants Tyrone to pay.
I thought it was very petty. And then the last that I heard...
Don't fight with each other. Talk to me. So he's got to pay for the damage. You have a job? Get one.
But first today,
The father kind of blocked me, and then my husband grabbed him from behind and held on to him.
The violence started and the yelling started. The kids went...
Bodies on Prawl versus Weisheimer. Step forward, please.
Dean and Dawn Prawl found Clifford Weisheimer and his son Cliff Jr.'s cat. When the Weisheimers came to get their cat, the Prawls claim Dawn was assaulted, breaking her toe.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 80 on the calendar in the matter of Prawl versus Weisheimer. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir, ladies.
This was a very confusing set of papers here, but let me see if I figured it out. You had a cat.
Yes.
You lost your cat.
Correct.
Step up here. You found a cat.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't know who it belonged to.
No.
That's correct.
You found out months later that these people who live in the same complex that you do
Used to, but yes, did at the time.
had your cat.
Correct.
So you go to get the cat, and who are you with?
Okay, myself, my son, and his girlfriend went over to get the cat. We identified ourselves outside, and they invited us in. So we all sat around, talked, and petted the cat for about 7 minutes or so, and then I asked them what was the situation with the vet bills. They had mentioned that they had some vet bills on the cat. Originally, when we talked to them the first time, the vet bill started out at $200. The last time we talked to them, they went to $1,000. And then the time we were there, we talked to him. He said, "Oh no, the vet bills are $2,000." So basically, I got kind of frustrated, to say the least, and asked them, well, basically, could we have our cat back? So that's why we were there in the first place.
Okay, so you discussed these vet bills, and you weren't going to pay the vet bills, which are now up to $2,000.
Okay.
So tell me slowly what happened.
Okay, basically, I believe my son was petting the cat, and I became very frustrated at this point because they said, "You owed us the money, and we're not going to give you the cat back, it's ours." So I kind of lost my composure a little bit, and I raised my voice, and I said, "Well, we want the cat," okay? And at that point, Dawn jumped up and grabbed me, okay? And
I did not grab him.
Go ahead.
Okay, she had jumped up and grabbed me. I said, "Please get your hands off me." And all I did was grab her arm, or her arm right here, and just remove her hands from my body. At that point, her husband said, "Get your hands off my wife. Quit touching my wife." I said, "I'm not trying to do anything. Your wife just tell her to get her hands off me." She grabbed me again. I kept saying, "Get your hands off me." I did not push her, shove her, hit her, anything. I just defensively took her hand off of my body. At this point, when all the yelling and pushing and stuff started, the kids got scared. They immediately left. My son was near the front door.
Who was holding the cat?
Okay, when we were arguing, my son wasn't holding the cat. I don't know if he was still holding the cat when we started all this violence because I wasn't,
Well,
you know.
when your son went to the door, were you holding the cat?
No, I was not.
Who had the cat?
I set
you
the
were.
cat. I set the cat down and I exited the house.
So the cat was left in their house.
Yes, and it escaped out the door with me.
So it ran out the door.
Basically, yes.
Now, during this melee, you claim that you suffered a broken toe.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me how that happened?
Well, when he started swearing and shouting up and down that they were going to take the cat back, the girlfriend kind of pushed the son out the door and took off running the other way.
Okay, so she wanted out of this situation.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yes. Yes.
And
so
he
then-
wanted out.
Yeah.
The son.
But he happened to have the cat in his arms at the time and walked out with the cat. And I mean, I watched him walk down the sidewalk, and as I was trying to get out the door to go after him to get the cat back, the father kind of blocked me, and then my husband came up because he thought that he thought that he was holding on to me to
But he
keep me
wasn't.
from getting. No.
He was just blocking you.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, then my husband grabbed him from behind and held on to him. And then in the meantime, I was getting ready to go, but he was standing on my foot, and I couldn't get out the door. And that's
Well,
when my
just a
toe was
second.
broken.
So far, he was just blocking you. And then your husband came up and grabbed him.
Right.
And it was at that point that he stepped on your toe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what you're telling me is his foot didn't touch your toe until your husband, you believe,
Well, he had
perceived him to be touching you, so
Yes.
came up and grabbed his body.
Right.
And at that point, I assume you started to move around?
Yes. Basically, I got frustrated. I yelled. She started the first physical contact. Violence started and yelling started. The kids went. Pff. He went out the front door because he was right by the front door. The cat had ran out. Why he ran out, and she got trapped inside, so she couldn't get out. And so I ended up pulling her out past them because I wanted the children away from the violence. And so that's basically how it happened.
Mrs. Prayle, you knew that this was their cat?
No, we didn't.
Well, they came over. They had called you several times. I assume the first time that they called, they described the cat. Is
Your
that
Honor,
right?
But they never came with any
We don't-
identity.
yeah, they never
as
showed
far
us
as
any
saying, you know, this is our cat. We can tell you it's our cat because we had pictures or he had clear markings.
Just a
They never
second.
said any of those
Just a
things.
second. They called you and told you that they lost a cat. Did you say to them, could you bring us over some pictures? Do you have any pictures of the cat that you lost? Did you ever say that to them?
Actually, I did. I said at the time when you want to come over and visit, make sure you bring some type of proof of ownership. And at that time when I was talking to him, I clearly told him how much we had accumulated in vet bills, the records that we've accumulated, and that was in our intention of keeping the cat because we thought he was an abandoned cat.
Well, but you thought wrong. Mr. Prayle, why would you tell them that these vet bills had reached whatever you told them that they reached, $2,000, if you weren't satisfied that they were the owners of the cat?
Because prior to that, the ex-wife had come over and visited the cat, and she was the one who was trying to indicate that it was their cat. But she didn't bring any type of proof either. And then we started talking about how much we've accumulated in vet bills.
So his former wife did come over
Correct.
and said, this is certainly our cat. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You should have let them take the cat.
Well, we didn't know that it was theirs, and we had spent so much money on the cat already.
You did that voluntarily. You did that. I mean, it was very nice of you to take in this cat. You could have called the Humane Society. They would have taken the cat.
Yeah, we thought about doing that.
Well, you could have done that.
Yeah.
What kind of bills did you have for this cat that totaled $2,000?
Actually, it was only $1,000. And
Did you ever tell them $2,000?
No.
No.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a
We
second.
can never get the price straight.
You step up here. Tell me your name.
My name's Jennifer Davis.
Jennifer, were you there when this discussion was going on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was there ever any mention of $2,000?
Yes, Your Honor. When she was telling how much the vet bills were, she said that they were totaled $2,000.
No, I said they totaled almost a
No,
couple
you
thousand
said
dollars.
Almost a couple of thousand. Yeah, almost a couple of thousand. A couple is two.
Well, the total was $1,500 by the
First
time
you told me
everything was done.
1,000. Now you tell me 1,500.
Well, the vet bills themselves are $1,000, but we didn't have any supplies. We didn't have, anything to take care of an animal. And up until that point, it had cost us about $500 in things like litter and, food. Because the cat, we thought it was allergic to food, so then we had to buy special food. And, it was just a nightmare trying to
Are
take
you
care of
telling
the
me
poor
that you
animal.
spent $100 a month on kitty litter?
Yeah, it had diarrhea fairly badly.
Dean and Dawn Prahl claim Dawn was assaulted by the Weisheimers when they came to retrieve their lost cat.
Mr. and Mrs. Prayer. you should have let them take the cat and not had this altercation inside your house. There are legal ways to take care of it if you feel as if they owe you money for taking care of their cat. And quite frankly, I'm not satisfied that your broken toe, although I'm very sorry that you had a broken toe, was a result of anything that he did intentionally. Now, he may have stepped on your toe, but I'm not finding that that's his fault. In any event, you're suing them for $5,000. Vet bills, pain and suffering, everything else. And there's certainly no way that you're going to get $5,000. You're not going to get anywhere close to that. But they took care of your cat for 3 months, 4 months.
Actually, about around 6, I think.
Okay. Now, how much do you think it would have cost you to take care of this cat for 6 months?
Well, to feed it and give it cat litter, I don't know, not too much. What? How much does cat food cost? $10 or litter? Or, but we bought a sack of...
Oh, please, this is, you know, this is not a price club. Let me just take a quick look at the vet records.
Apparently he had eaten something as well, and then, so he had to have some kind of surgery to remove plastic stuff out of his stomach. So he was choking that up and throwing it up, and
You neutered this cat?
Yes. He was also very sick, so.
You think neutering him made him feel better?
No, not
I doubt
really.
that.
Well, no, they didn't want to do the procedure right away.
Is that right, Bert?
Absolutely.
Listen. I'm going to give you $500 for taking care of this cat, and that's it. I'm not giving you anything for your toe. I'm not giving you anything for pain and suffering. I think what you should have done is, as soon as they came for their cat, you should have given them their cat back, and then you would have avoided all this problem. If you wanted to take them to small claims court, you could have done that. I don't believe that he intentionally stepped on your toe. I think it was an incident that was provoked by your husband grabbing his body. If he did step on your toe, he stepped on your toe, and it was purely an accident for which you don't get compensation. But I think that they took good care of your animal. I think that the cat was, according to these records, suffering from some sort of intestinal malady that they took care of, and you should joyfully pay him the $500. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
he initiated the physical contact, that he did break her toe even before I touched him, and we're just not happy at all.
I think justice was served, and they obviously want to be opportunists and try to make something off this case.
And now the next case.
Parties on Ephraim versus Walker Curry. Step forward, please.
16-year-old student Aisha Ephraim wants her former friend, 17-year-old student Tyrone Curry, to pay for the necklace he snatched from her neck.
Why don't the two moms sit down? You were sitting in class.
Yeah.
Which class?
4th period Spanish.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
We were having conversation as we sat in class, and he jumped up and he grabbed
Was
my...
he sitting next to you?
Yes. And he reached out and he grabbed my chain in the process. And when I asked him why he had done it, he said he was having a Vietnam flashback, which the scene comes from a movie that we had seen, Dead Presidents. He was reenacting the character.
And what happened to your medallion?
Well, it had a slit down the middle and my name was broken in half.
Let's hear your version of these events. Your name is Tyrone?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
All right, we were like done with our assignment and things, and so we didn't have anything else to do. So people got into groups and we're sitting and talking, and I had some work I needed to do for my 5th period English class, and so I sat and I was doing my work, and then the people behind me, they're talking about Aisha sitting by herself. So we laughed about that, and I said, Aisha, you look a little lonely over there, you know? And then she laughed or whatever, and then other people in the group called her over. The only desk that was open was the one in front of me, so she came and sat down in front of me. And as I was doing my work, she came and she was like, she flicked my pen a little bit.
What do you mean she flicked your pen a little bit? What does that mean?
Like I was writing, and she just hit the pen, you know, like playful, you know, to get my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we started talking about the Dead Presidents movie. And then we started talking about the particular scene when Lorenz Tate choked it.
When what?
Lorenz Tate,
Yeah.
when he choked his girlfriend.
I didn't see the movie.
Oh, well, he had came back from Vietnam, and he was supposed to be like, you know, kind of crazy or whatever. And she had came up on him and like was yelling at him, and he choked her. You know, and her boyfriend was supposed to be going into the service and everything. I said, what if he did you like that? And then she was saying that he wouldn't do her like that, and she would do him like this. And she came and grabbed me, and I pushed her back.
She came and grabbed you how?
We were sitting like in front of each other, so she like just turned and put her hands on my neck.
16-year-old student Aisha Ephraim wants her former friend, 17-year-old student Tyrone Curry, to pay for the necklace he snatched from her neck.
Okay. So then you look down at your medallion. Now, it wasn't broken in two pieces at that point. It was just bent.
No, it was broken in two pieces.
So it was totally apart?
Yes.
And did you have it fixed?
Yeah, here it is now.
Good. And how much did you pay to have it fixed?
My mom paid $90 total to have it all fixed and repaired.
Do you have the receipt?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it, please? This says exchange gold necklace, 22 inches, cannot repair to customer satisfaction.
Yes.
Well, what does that mean?
No, they couldn't fix it. If they would have fixed it, it would have left a scar. So he let me trade this one in, trade the one I had in that was identical to this one, and paid a difference of $80 or something.
It says $80.
Okay. And he was able to fix the name.
Name cost $10. He just soldered it together.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. So, Tyrone, what do you think?
Well, it was like, it wasn't just like it was my fault. Like I just jumped and like tried to take her chain or something.
No,
you know,
nobody's suggesting, sir, that you try to take her chain. You were fooling around with each other.
Yeah, and so I think we should have to pay equally, you know, the $90.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay, when I originally talked to Mrs. Ephraim, she told me that she had the chain fixed, the medallion fixed and everything, and it was $28. The last that I heard from her, she was supposed to bring me a receipt showing that she had it fixed, and it cost $28 to have fixed. I want to know, how did it jump from $28 to $90 all of a sudden?
I never told you it was $28.
That's what you stated. And I told you that I thought it was very petty, that I felt that, we went through this the whole summer with the two of them jumping around, playing with each other, because I'm the director at the Boys and Girls Club, and Aisha was one of my youth workers, along with my son, Tyrone. The whole summer, I supervised them. Mrs. Ephraim even came in, and she stayed some days. We both watched the two of them play around a lot. So I felt, why should Tyrone sit up and pay for some jewelry that both of them were playing around?
Let me tell you why. Because sometimes when you play around, nothing happens.
True.
And sometimes when you play around, something gets damaged.
Right.
So that you're supposed to be smart. She started to fool around with him, and he says, listen, you never know what happens.
Exactly.
I'm going to ignore this gal. Right?
With Aisha, it's kind of hard to do.
Okay. What I'm telling you is he had options.
Yes, he did.
All right. And we're not talking about a major, she could have gotten hurt.
True.
Momo Yanda. Yanda. Oh, Yanda. Adra. Oh, Yanda.
Mama.
Momo Yanda. Ah, Momo Yanda.